Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Douglas.
I'm Alistair.
And we are the Highland Hikers.
So, we've hit our first milestone, 100 subscribers. Now, I know 100 might seem quite small in the world of YouTube when you've got channels that have millions or even tens of millions of subscribers. But to us, it felt significant and we wanted to mark the occasion, so we've got a special wee video here for you today.
Absolutely. I mean, when we first started this channel, we weren't sure if anybody would be interested in our videos. So the fact that 100 of you have subscribed means an awful lot to us, so thank you very much for that. Hopefully you'll stick with us as the channel continues to grow and we do more walks.
Fingers crossed, and thank you from me as well. So it was actually pretty much spot on 6 months ago that we released our first video. So what we thought we might do is have a look back through our highlights over the last 6 months and the 18 hikes that have got us to 100 subscribers.
Ben Chulichan and Cruch Arstrain.
The Coinnich cut.
Ben Duchraig and Ben Oss, followed by
Ben Louis and Ben Clave.
3 Munros at the end of Glen Etive.
Ben Vorlich,
King's Seat Hill.
Ben Vane,
The Brack and Cnoc Coinnich.
Glenford Braes Country Park,
Course Hill.
Bellhouston Park, the Kelvin Walkway,
The Lochgoyne Circuit.
Cathkin Braes, Dams to Darnley kind of country park, Duncolm.
Neilston Hill of Stake.
Wow, it's incredible just looking back at that footage that of the walks we've done in the last 6 months. It brings back some good memories already for me.
Yeah, it's funny really. You know, we started off with all these grand plans to go out and bag iconic Munros and do long distance walks and such like, hence the name Highland Hikers. But obviously, you know, once second lockdown came along, it kind of curtailed our plans a wee bit. So we've had to become a bit more creative and explore our local area, something that neither of us had really considered before now.
Definitely. Since lockdown started again at the end of December, it's given me a bit more appreciation of my local area, and I've certainly done walks that I would never have considered doing before, purely because we're kind of constricted to this area where we live in. We can't go further afield to where we would normally go, so it has been great just seeing what is around me, and it gives me a better understanding of where we live. We've even had some comments from some of your subscribers saying how much they've appreciated the local walks, and it's something that they can relate to, especially if they've not been able to get out further afield like ourselves as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's been really cool actually exploring the local area and seeing places we might not otherwise have come across. But I have to say, I am definitely longing to get back to the Highlands, and hopefully it's not going to be too much longer before we get to do that. So looking back over the last sort of 6 months or so, Alistair, what would you say have been your highlights during that time?
Yeah, there's been a few highlights for me. Probably the biggest one was Ben Vorlich. It's a Munro that I've passed so many times on the road heading north for holidays or other walks, and that day was just absolutely spectacular. The weather was perfect. I mean, you couldn't have expected any better conditions. The sun was out, there was no wind even at the summit. It was stunning. It was absolutely amazing, and the views were spectacular. We could see far and wide, and it was so quiet as well. It was just, it was a fantastic day. It was definitely my favourite so far, but hands down. Other highlights as well, been able to do 4 Munros in one day. I didn't think I'd ever be able to do something like that, and I think we walked over 20 kilometres, climbed over a mile in total ascent that day, and I'm pretty sure there was a few stops before we got to the summit of Ben Louis when my legs were really struggling, and I almost didn't think we'd be able to do that 4th Munro, but compared to Ben Louis it was nowhere near as tall, and yeah, the bogs at the end of that put a bit of a dampener on it, but it was still a fantastic day. It was certainly one that I'll remember for a long time. And speaking of bogs, certainly one of our more recent walks when we did the Kelvin Walkway That wasn't something where I expected to experience any bogs. I thought we were going to be walking along a well-worn path for the majority of that, but the bogs were horrific.
What did we do?
They were almost as bad as the ones coming down off Benley, and I just remember the footage of us as we tried and climbed round it. It was absolutely hilarious. But I think my kind of last highlight would have been my last major walk that I did, which was to the summit of Duncombe, and that's a walk I've done quite a few times. I think I've probably 5 times in total now, and it's somewhere very close to home. It's a nice easy walk, it's not too laborious, and every time I've been up that recently it's been absolutely heaving with people, and I wanted to go up and do a good bit of filming up there, but I was worried that I was going to get so many people that I just wouldn't be able to get anything meaningful. So I went up one weekday and my mind was blown away by the fact that I was the only person on that hill. I think for about 2 hours I never saw another human being, and at a time when I can't go a walk in Glasgow City without bumping into hundreds of other people trying to do the same thing, it was amazing just being up there, being on your own, and the only thing that you've got is just the countryside, the mountains, the lochs in front of you. It was brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed that day, and I'm really hoping that there's a lot more memories to be made.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. You know, we had some special days out in the hills, and just hearing you talk about Ben Vorlich there brings back some great memories of it. It was one of those walks where you've got perfect conditions, as you say, no wind, stunning views. That was certainly a thoroughly enjoyable walk. In terms of my own sort of highlights, I'm just having a wee think there. I'd probably say I'd put my 3 Munros at the end of Glen Etive up at the top of my own highlights. I managed to hit my 200th Munro on that walk, so that was quite nice, hitting that milestone. And as well, it was another fantastic day. I think it was maybe only 3 or 4 days before we did Ben Vorlich, and it was a particularly good weekend for weather. So I went up on the Friday, took a wee day off work to head up when I saw the weather was looking good, and I had a stunning day. Again, you had views, you could see up to Ben Nevis in the north and down past Cruachan and some of the other peaks in the south. And because it was a Friday, it was really quiet. There was hardly anyone else out on the hills. I'm sure during the video itself I kept on repeating the word solitude over and over again, but it was true, and that was a standout walk for me. Glen Etive's a stunning place, and I'm sure any James Bond fans out there will be familiar with it from Skyfall. I'd say probably second, I would put the 2 Corbetts I did up there, the Brack and Cnoc Coinnich. It wasn't a walk I'd really considered doing before. I've always been, let's go and do Munros, but it's getting further and further away, and I wanted something a bit closer to home. I found this walk, it looked good. What really made that walk special was the cloud inversion that we got. So that's when you're hiking above the clouds, and you know, we got about an hour into the walk, went over a wee crest of a hill, and suddenly this sea of fog opened up below us, and it just looked, you know, it was like being on another world almost. It was absolutely fantastic, and yet that was only about an hour away from Glasgow, so it made for a nice day out. In terms of other ones, just hearing you talk about Duncombe there, actually, which is something that's been pretty cool. Getting to see you do your own walks has been an interesting aspect of this. I know we've been collaborating on our videos to begin with, but then lockdown forced our hand and we've had to do our own videos, so getting to watch your videos has been cool. And hearing you talk about getting back out into the wilderness almost really inspired me, and I went out and did Hill of Stake as my most recent walk, and that too, for the same reasons you mentioned, getting out and not seeing another soul pretty much on the entirety of the walk, just made that a really great day. Again, it was really great conditions. You could see across to Arran and down to Ailsa Craig, and again up north towards the Highlands you had a great view of Ben Lomond and such like. So yeah, that was they were probably my top 3, I would say. What I would do is, while it's maybe not a highlight, I'd add a special mention for the Cnoc cut. That was our second walk that we went on after having done the Munros of Ben Chulichan and Cruach Drain. And we were kind of like, oh, this seems a bit underwhelming, but let's go out and do something a bit more local. It wasn't a very nice day, so heading up to the hills wouldn't have been good. But I think, yeah, we were both a bit underwhelmed by it, and we thought, oh, this won't make for a particularly good video. But curiously, it's been our most watched video, so people out there must be enjoying that sort of thing. So yeah, I just wanted to put that in there as a wee special mention.
It has been a great 6 months. There have been loads of memories I've made in just such a short period of time. It's probably hard to pick out the true favourite. I have lots of good memories, like I mentioned, Ben Vorlich and the 4 Munros, but each walk has had something different to offer, and even walks I didn't think would be quite as good, I've still enjoyed them an awful lot. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be able to do in the future, and I am certainly counting down the days until the 26th of April until I can actually go back outside of Glasgow City Council area. That's going to be a big day.
Yeah, me too. Just counting down the days until we can go out again. I think we were both saying that we'd probably take a wee bit of time off work, take some annual leave and head to the hills pretty much as soon as we can. Although, to be honest, we don't really know where we're going, so that will remain to be seen in an upcoming video. I think what I'm most looking forward to, though, is getting to actually do sort of overnight trips again. It was always great heading up to the Highlands and, you know, staying in a hotel or a B&B or something like that, and getting out on these more remote walks. I know we did have a trip to Kinlochleven planned sort of around about October time last year, but we had to cancel that once the second lockdown came in. So yeah, really looking forward to another trip, and we've actually got one booked already for later this year. Tentatively booked. You know, we have to see what happens between now and then. But do you want to tell the folks a bit about what it is we've got planned?
Yeah, it's a trip that I think we're both really looking forward to. It was something we started discussing a wee while back. We weren't sure if we were ever going to be able to get a chance to do it this year, but it's looking odds on that we are. We were looking at the kind of tallest peaks, and we noticed this peak on the Isle of Rum, and when I started to have a wee bit more of a research into the Isle of Rum, I kind of realised that it's quite a unique place. You can't take a car there, it's a nice good ferry over to it, and there's hardly empty stays on the island, so you're going to get that feeling of isolation 100% being out there. So yeah, we're going to head up later in the year. Got a long weekend planned. We'll get the ferry over to Rum. We've got this cracking B&B booked, and we're going to try the Coolin Ridge, which is pretty much an all-day walk. It looks pretty grueling, but apparently it's got some of the best views on any island in Scotland, so it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to try and stop Dougie from cracking pirate and rum jokes for the whole trip, but unfortunately there's no guarantees that will happen.
Ah, that sounds absolutely awesome. Cannot wait until we get to go to that. There's always something that bit more magical about an island trip. You know, you're getting the adventure, going out on the ferry, heading across to it. It is really good. And don't worry, you definitely don't have to be concerned about me making any sort of pirate jokes or anything like that. I mean, what do you think I am?
No, give me straight.
But yeah, hopefully restrictions will be alright for us to travel to the islands by then. I know they've announced mainland Scotland travel from the 26th of April, but I don't know if there was any word yet on how the islands will fit into that, so we'll have to play it by ear and see what we can do. But yeah, fingers crossed that hopefully we will be able to go there, because it sounds like an epic trip. Yeah,
I think that pretty much wraps it up, and sorry we don't repeat ourselves anymore, but thanks very much for subscribing. It means an awful lot to us, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We've got some great walks planned for the rest of this year, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy the footage that we bring back from them. Yep, thank you again from me, and you know, with any luck, we will see you at our next milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Although I have to say that does seem like quite a way off just now. So, you know, tell your friends about the channel. Every little certainly helps. Yeah, take care, and we'll see you on our next walk.